I'm Rob Van Dam. The whole show.
Hey, oh man, it's Thursday. It's trash night. I'm Dominic D'Angelo. Oh, and I'm of adfreeshows.com, but I'm also of RVDTV.com, and we are live
That's
here.
where I know you from.
Is that where you recognize me from, Rob?
I knew it was either that or that gay porn that was on when I walked in.
Well,
So
we don't talk about that. Yeah, that's some private matter. But yes, I'm here with Rob Van Dam. Rob, how are you tonight?
Super, dude.
Yeah.
Yep. It's been a short week. Short week since we just talked on Sunday.
Monster Truck Sunday.
Yes. But I have been making the headlines a little bit or the conversations.
A little bit, right?
Yeah. I would like to address that, and then we have a guest that we're going to bring on and have a conversation, which is what I was looking for last week. You know, I wrote a post that said, and everybody knows. Oh, by the way, let me start off by saying we're here for the people that are interested in what I have to say. If you don't, and all you have is hate and disgust, and you're here to throw insults and be a troll, we're not really here for you. I haven't blocked probably 10 people since I've been on X, but you know what? In your world, in your bubble, if I'm the devil for the crime of not agreeing with you, I believe is the crime, not agreeing with you, having a different opinion. That's how I feel. If it is for a different reason, then I hope to find out on this episode with Mr. Mike Hallow, who we'll bring on in a few minutes, because I saw him on his podcast, and I believe he shares a lot of views with the majority of the people. For me, I got to be honest, at this point, if it's about not having a popular opinion, like, I will stand on that. I've packed a lunch. I can't live in a world where it's a crime to not have the same opinion as somebody else. A few months ago, posted a picture of me hanging out with a good friend, Mr. Hulk Hogan. And of course, there's the usual comments, and some of them are mad at me. Rob, what? I thought you were cool, man. Don't you know he ain't? No, Rob, that ain't it. All that stuff. And we talked about that. Like, I don't have to hate the same people that you hate. I won't be bullied into hating what you hate. And is that the crime? Because what have I done? Am I defending this guy, Raja, in the court of law? Fuck no. Am I going over to his house and funding his fucking lifestyle or his court costs? Fuck no. All I said and did was said, what was the prefix I put? Not for now, but so far. So far, I got his back. I'm looking forward to talking about it on my podcast. That was the post. And what that meant to me is I wanted to speak from his position, what I saw him go through for that conversation. And I did. I had his back for so far. Not all the way. Did what he do? Was that fucking over the top? Fuck yeah. Was it too much? For who? Not for him if he wanted to kill somebody. But that's not the conversation. The conversation is the words I put. Maybe some people interpreted them different. If so, then that's what I call basic thinking. So thank you for showing me the clip of Stevie Richards and the bloke James, because I looked at that, and so Stevie starts out saying that post leaves some interpretation.
Mhm.
right?
You want me to play that clip?
Sure.
Okay, so here it
Why
is.
not? Let's
This
do.
is the beginning of their clip that they did on Rob, and the title of it was "RVD is so wrong" or something to that effect. So here it is.
Like, is that
Right.
something to like promote his podcast and say, listen to what I have to say? But so far, I got Rogers back with no explanation in the tweet. And then when he did it, I watched maybe about 10 minutes of it. I wasn't quite sure outside of the basic thinker thing. I mean, I'm thinking about it pretty basically. Like Chael Sonnen says, it's an overcomplicated issue, which is kind of, connected to this way of thinking. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's pretty basic. It's not complicated to me. And there's this weird, like I said, this weird Stockholm syndrome in the professional wrestling world to do that. Is Rob friends with Rikishi? Is this a way to protect Rikishi as well? Because we have Mark Henry talking about this as well. I don't know. And I asked the question once again. When I'm looking at Rob or listening to Rob, watching him for 10 minutes, or even the Chael Sonnen video or the Mark Henry, and I'm like, what am I missing? What am I getting wrong here? I watched the same video they did. As a matter of fact, we watched some of the live stream before and after. We watched the thing during the day. I think we have complete context on what happened. So what's missing here? Please let us know. I don't know.
All right, Rob. That's
So first off, what is RVD wrong about? Because if you don't know, if you haven't got taught in school, there's a difference between facts and opinions. And when it comes to opinions, nobody's wrong. And is that what we're talking about here? Is that what everyone is up in arms about, an opinion? Hopefully not. But that's what I question. I feel like it is. I don't have the same opinion. And the thing is, you say she's hot, I say she's not. Guess what? We're both right. We're both wrong. That's how opinions are. They're subjective. Facts are like, boom. You know what? There was 21 punches. I don't know how many they were, but I do know that I was wrong last week. I feel like I was wrong. I'm not standing behind the number that I said of 16. It looked like several of them were grazes, but like I was like, why is nobody else seeing that fact that I did? Not the opinion, but the fact. Why is no one else saying, yeah, I saw that many? And so I looked at it really hard, and I can't tell. So I'm definitely not standing by, and coming up front to say that I will retract me saying that there was only 16. But everything you read is a range.
right. It was a lot. It was a lot of.
Yeah, it's a lot. So yeah, but here's the thing. I don't know if we need to play James talking about the basic thinkers, but
I was going to play that in a little bit, but if you want to elaborate on anything of regards.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. So far, Stevie has said, "What are we missing?" What am I saying that they're missing something?
I don't know. That's what I'm confused about, Rob, because it sounds like a lot of what you said last week, like you're echoing what they're saying. Like I listened, like I even talked about last week on the podcast, like Stevie was saying, like it's an ecoscape of, a weird environment pro wrestling is. And so I was agreeing with him. And then like what you basically laid out was like, you understood why Raja, who was not in the right state of mind, got to the point of where he got to in the ring to do something as heinous as that. And it's not defending him. It's just saying how he got there, how he got from point A to point B. And I completely understood that. But everybody is making it seem like you're defending him or like you're not backing the wrestler. You're not backing Stu. And that's not the case at all. Like,
and that's my point, by the way, with basic thinkers. Somebody tell James, because he obviously doesn't watch the show, or he would know. I talk about basic thinkers.
Oh, Rob, he only watched 8 minutes of the clip.
Yeah, right. That's all I can handle. That's all I can handle. But the point that I wanted to make was I talk about basic thinkers. I know these people. They can only have one thought in their mind at one time, like my dogs. I don't think they can choose to think about something other than what they're thinking about. And when you're in the car with them, and I use this example, James, and they're driving and some car goes zooming by on the road, they'll say, "Whoa, what the fuck is that guy in such a hurry for? We should box him in. See how see how he likes that." And what I'm thinking is, there's a reason. I wonder why he is in such a hurry. Is he trying to make a good time on a long trip? Is he having a baby? Whatever the fuck. Those people only can think about how things affect them. That's a basic thinker. And the reason that I brought it up, which confused the poor bloke, is I was saying that the basic thinkers that we have on the show, we know that from past experience, the basic thinkers said and think to this day that I hate AEW and that I trash it, or because why? Their imagination. Because they go with their interpretation, and that's all there can be, is how they're interpreting something, regardless of what the intention is. Could the intention of what was said be different than the way it was interpreted? Yeah. Should that be a factor? I don't know. Apparently not with basic thinkers. They have so much invested. They want me to think that our relationship is so substantial that they're going, that I went from being their number one guy to the devil because of what? Is it something I did say? No, they talked about me saying that to attract people to my podcast. Apparently that was a crime. Well, as I said, I was looking forward to the conversation. I wanted to let people out there that might also be interested in the conversation know that we're doing this thing on the podcast. That is why we do posts. So if that's a crime according to your values and that makes me a horrible person, then at least it's for something that I did actually do. We obviously have different values. My values say that cyberbullying and actually going through the trouble of reaching out to people to try to insult them with the goal of what? Making them feel bad. Like that's your goal, right? How does that work with cyberbullying? Because I got like so many people messaging me. I don't know them, but they want me. They're like, "Oh, you're a piece of shit." Like, that's like a homeless guy begging for money, calling me a loser. Like, I get you're trying to insult me, but by my values, I see it quite different than you. So what is your goal? Your goal is that you're hoping, like you read about every once in a while, I hear about a kid at school that commits suicide because they were cyberbullied, and I'm always thinking, like, they got to know, man, too bad they can't realize that their bubble's going to be so much bigger than it is now, in the chat room or in their school or whatever it is, where everything seems surrounding them. But the bullies would love that. Like, that's their goal, right? Like, I'm feeling hate. I want to send something insulting so this person feels less about themselves. Like, they're too happy. Do you think you're going to get through? Like, do you think I'm going to read your message and I'm going to be like, oh my God, you're right. Never Laid 365 is right. I am a horrible person, piece of shit. Oh, I got nothing to be proud for. I've done nothing. I suck. What was I thinking? Thank you, Never Laid 365. No, you're not going to win me over. You have different values. Your values tell you reach out to somebody you don't even know and try to bring them down because their happiness bothers you because you're not as happy. And everybody knows that's the way that bullying works. That's the motivation behind it. And that's gross. So to my values, that's like one of the lowest, nastiest forms of people. And by the way, did I say we're going to kick people out of the chat room if they
yeah, we're gonna kick people out of the chat room.
Yeah, if your idea, if you get energized off of saying, "Oh, I gotta say something about his wife's plastic," yeah, let me put that on there, dude, that'll get him. And I'll get, say something about pot. Look, conversation, I invite it. If you're just there to fucking throw insults, and it's because what? I won't I won't admit that I hate the same way that you hate. Is it because of false interpretation of what I did say? And I will say I could have chose better words, but you know what? It's not even about that anymore for me. This guy on Adolfo on my fucking yeah. And he says, how can you condone that being a wrestler? You're a piece of shit too. You were my idol growing up, and now I got a whole different picture of you. So I'm supposed to think, I talk about people of no substance. I'm supposed to think that I was so substantial to him, like I was his favorite fucking wrestler. He's got some of these things want me to think they got their action figures all over the room, and now they're gonna burn them like that crazy guy from Kentucky that fucking Bad Business Bobby got me with that burnt my action figures. Anyway, he says and he says you're a piece of shit too, and how could you condone it? I said I never condoned it. You're fucking stupid for caring about the facts. So hey, I'll reach back to him, instead of just give him a like. Usually they just get a like. And then now he writes me this big, long fucking thing, and he's like, oh, okay, blah, blah. And he's, and then I say, wait, so you messaged me to bully me, and now you want to talk? Go fuck yourself, Adolfo. and then he comes back and he's like, oh, if it seemed I was coming at you personally, I'm sorry, that was never my intentions. Bro, you came at me and said I was a piece of shit. Like, do they not know that they're bullies? They got themselves convinced they're doing something good.
I think he never expected you to comment back to him, and once you did, he was like, "Oh."
But in general, there's been a lot of these, and I'm addressing a lot of them. If it's over something that's real cool, if it's over something you made up in your head, like you think that I said there's nothing wrong with what this guy did, and I'm condoning it, and whoa. I never said that. Those aren't my feelings. The only way you could come up with that is if you're a basic thinker and you jumped at your first interpretation and said, boom, whoa, RVD just said he's got this guy's back all the way. I didn't even say that. I said I had it so far.
It's football season. Man, can you see it? I'm wearing all the Jets gear. I'm a New York Jets fan. And yeah, I'm sweating the season. Sweating it big time, as I should, because my Jets usually stink. Well, you don't want to stink at all this football season. And we got the perfect thing for you. That is Mando. That's correct. Mando is the way to go. I tell you what, you want to smell like an adult? You want to smell like you're a real fan that knows what he's doing, that is reading the room right? You got to get Mando. And I tell you what, boom, Mando, this is my favorite right here. This right here is the bourbon leather. It smells real good. Actually, too, like the Mount Fuji a lot. But the bourbon leather, man, you want to smell like an adult? This is it. Been a big fan of Mando since they've been a sponsor of ours. I literally went out and bought the deodorant spray, too, because it's comes in such a handy. If you're ever in a pinch and you're worried that you might smell or stink or reek a little bit, you're just like, boom, pop it in there. Great for on the road. Great for tailgating if you're out there out and about and you don't got to carry a stick around. But Mando's the best. And seriously, you want to smell good this football season. And you want your team to play good this football season. So Mando's starter pack is the perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant. Boom, to say it right here. Cream tube deodorant. 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. So if you have the option, I would try to maybe go with the deodorant spray if that's an option for you. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with exclusive code. Use code RVD at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide and free shipping. shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to stains and say hello to long-lasting freshness. Jets.
So anyway, let's bring our guest on because I saw this guy doing a podcast. And I watched a lot of the podcasts on the subject, and I saw him, and then he just like a lot of them, boom, oh, I heard my name. And so he's saying that obviously he didn't get what I was talking about. doesn't get my perspective. So I'm looking forward to having that conversation. He seems like, well, let's bring him on, Mike Hallow.
Mike Hallow. Hey,
And all the
welcome to
way
the show, Mike.
all the
Yep.
way
Hey
from
guys,
the
thanks for having me.
UK. All right, yeah, dude, I appreciate your vibe. You seem like somebody that can have a conversation without going to you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I live in a house where nobody agrees with each other over anything, and we all get along. So, and I grew up watching Rob for like all my childhood. So for me to see you say something that I disagree with and then immediately hate you, it's not in my personality to do that.
What do you suppose inspires the rage that makes you, hate? Like someone disagrees with you. Okay, I get that, but why automatically this guy needs to be hung?
For me, I don't understand their mindset. I think it's okay to disagree with people and move respectfully. I don't know why people lean so much into it. I think it's okay to have bad takes. I mean, not necessarily yours in general, but just people in life. Like I've had takes that people don't like, and I talk about games, and people send me death threats over that. So I don't really know how people rationalize the things that they come out with. I don't know. I've never done it before.
Okay, play the one that's number 2 video of Mike, so we can.
Mike? Okay, here's the one. Yeah, this is about a 30-second clip here of you, Mike.
I've seen
Cool.
a lot of bad takes from wrestlers. Maven's take was a little bit iffy. RVD's take was off the wall. Like he kept on calling people that they're lacking nuance and they're not thinking properly, but all of the arguments that he presented were pretty weak. Leaning on the CTE argument would be a convenient thing to do. Roger Jackson does do MMA. He was knocked out most recently, but this is not a Chris Benoit situation. He didn't, there wasn't a switch that went off and he just flipped completely. I mean, Chris Benoit's situation was over a number of years. I don't believe CTE had anything to do with this. And yeah, that's speculation. And so is it from everybody else. I don't believe it had anything to do with it whatsoever. I believe that is somebody that is from this get back culture. We have a lot of people that feel like they need to get back. If you disrespect them, I have to get mine, because these people have fragile egos.
All right.
So all right, so one question I have is, while you were waiting to be brought out onto the show, I explained for people that don't normally watch my show what I'm referring to as far as basic thinkers. They have no empathy. They can only think from one perspective. It's what's natural. It's where they're comfortable, and it's the perspective where all of their thoughts come from, in my opinion. Do you have an issue with that?
No, I think it's fine to look at things from different perspectives. I think some people were unfair in that they didn't watch the whole show that you did. And I think you need to watch the whole show before you actually have an opinion on something. Watching 10 minutes you're not going to be able to form a proper opinion. I watched the whole show from start to end. And there were loads of things that I disagreed with, like the assessments, how you got from like point A to point B. So like, I guess we could like run through them if you wanted to.
Yeah, eventually. We'll break it down. I just had a question about something first though. I can't remember what it was. Because now I'm thinking about breaking it down. Well, when we do break it down, I think there's 2 particular points that I see, in my opinion, something different than is going on. So if you want to start there, the first one obviously is the beer can to the head. All right.
Yeah.
We don't need to go I mean, before that, he's got a concussion. That's definitely a factor. He talks about his head's fucked up just right before he goes in the building, right?
Yeah, I think, that was, you're talking about the initial hit from Stu.
Well, I mean, but even before that, like if we did want to go before that, all there is really, I mean, on his stream, he's up front and he's saying, my head is fucked up. I got a concussion, which we've probably seen the spin kick that caught him and his leg got wobbly. But anyway, he's got a concussion. He's got concussion damage. He's still feeling the effects of it. He's got an upset stomach, and that's really all we know really going into it, other than what we've learned about why he's there, yada yada, which I've never used before, but fits perfect. But also he doesn't have any business being there. He's not a wrestler. He has no idea how anything in wrestling works. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that he doesn't know the terms, whatever. When Stu hits him with the can, this is something that I find is spurs a lot of different comments in different directions. If you're hung up on the fact that it's a prop can, not a real can, then you're missing the point. At least you're missing my points. That has absolutely nothing to do with it. If you're not a wrestler, I think that outsiders somehow think that it's okay to hit each other like that if it's another wrestler, but it's not. It never would be. And I would love to ask Stevie Richards, what would you do, Stevie, if not me, someone that doesn't know you, Dom, say Dom came up to you and had an orange in his hand. Can we all agree an orange isn't going to hurt even as much as a prop can, right? And you took an orange and you just went, hey, Stevie, nice to meet you. What would Stevie do?
He'd be pissed. He'd definitely
be pissed. I bet he would fucking at least fucking grab you by your throat and like throw you down. Whatever his moves would be, he would instinctively give you a receipt on the spot, right? Mm-hmm. That's what people don't seem to understand. And then a lot of people, I'm losing there. Like they're in the argument, they come back to, dude, it wasn't even a real beer can. So like a prop can equals getting murdered? No, of course not. But it wasn't the weight of the can. It was the insult of somebody that doesn't know you, boom, cracking you on top of your head. Mike, do you remember the news maybe a year ago, maybe not quite that long ago, of Mike Tyson getting harassed by this kid on the airplane?
Yeah, I heard about
Kid's
that.
like talking from behind him, and he's got a bottle of water, and eventually the bottle allegedly touched Mike Tyson's head. He gets up and he turned around and he started pounding. Those are Mike Tyson punches. Everybody said what? Fuck around and find out. Why is this different?
I think this situation is different because when Stu hit him with the beer can, he got angry initially, but there was a de-escalation. And Stu shook his hand and he said sorry to him and he explained to him that he was in the wrong and he made a mistake. And my problem with the situation is if I walked up to you and punched you on the street and you immediately punched me, everyone would understand why you've done that. But if I turn around to you, say, sorry, I don't know, I have tics or something. It's a mistake. And you shake my hand and then I turn around and you knock me out. The conversation changes completely now because you've accepted my apology and I'm unsuspecting, which is, I think, the problem that everyone has with it, that he accepted the apology and he made out like he didn't know that wrestling was scripted. But as I showed in that video, there's a clip of him saying he knows that wrestling is scripted. He knows it's fake. He knows as an MMA fighter when somebody's knocked out. He got in the ring. Stu allowed him to put him in the double leg and then throw him on the floor. And then he watched a man that was unconscious and then he laid like 27 shots into him. So I think if he punched Stu initially, people would have understood it's a reaction. But he essentially snaked him. He did the most snaky thing a man could do. He extended his hand and said, okay, I'm cool, I'm straight, and then tried to murder him.
Yeah, and as I suspected, we're not in disagreement there. That's as far as I had his back. I understand why he pulled the trigger, when he chose to do it, and the fact that he decided, just like cops, you know, when they do a fucking whole mag dump, instead of just shooting one time and they unload, it's always, you know, like, why, but and I mentioned that on my show too. I don't know if people caught that, but I said, I would have hit him right then. And I said, I don't agree with the Bob Holly method, which I don't know if you get that, Mike. I guess you do. With Bob Holly and Renee Dupri, when Bob Holly waited until they had a match together to unload his frustrations and did a standing pummel to Renee the whole time they were in the ring together, and then followed up hitting him all the way into the dressing room. So everyone agreed then too, like that's to wait, until someone's in that spot where they're feeding you and trusting you. No. If anybody thinks that I said that was cool, then they made that up in their head, or that was their interpretation of me saying that I had his back, which I could have used better words, but just the fact that they don't care and they jump it like it must have meant this without even caring that I didn't really mean that was cool. That, if they think that I'm condoning that as being a part of it, waiting till later, and then, trying to fucking squish his head, like a fucking watermelon, then that's on them as far as I'm concerned. I don't feel obligated to go through and try to explain to people that don't have room in their head for it anyway. I mean, that's why they jump with something, in my opinion. And let me put it this way. We talked about people of low substance. For the people to say, I had somebody say, Rob, you used to be my favorite wrestler, and now I think of you just like Chris Benoit. And how? I mean, like, I'm supposed to think that's real, that there was actually some substance in that relationship that meant so much that just me saying those couple words and his interpretation of it, something that has nothing to do with him, none of you motherfuckers. It has nothing to do with any of you motherfuckers. It has nothing to do with me. I just given my opinion, and people can't handle that. Anyway, shit, where was I going? Because now I just thought.
If I could say just before we move on that,
yeah,
I think it's okay to disagree with somebody, even if you really don't like their take. I don't like it when people hear one thing and then they immediately turn on you, especially when you're not like wishing death on somebody. I think that people need to understand that everybody looks at things differently and we can disagree. Like, me and my brother were watching your podcast, and you're my brother's favorite wrestler, and we grew up watching you. We were literally watching you versus Kane at SummerSlam the other day, and I was saying to him, like, we don't agree with the arguments that were put forward, but we don't hate you or have any less respect for you. We just disagree in this moment,
which is cool. And I'm not even sure yet, and I'm hoping that you'll help me. Actually, I don't see yet where the disagreement is yet, but it might be what you just brought up there, though. And by the way, boom, let's say he punches him one time right there. Everyone sees, they say it was justified, but let's say that one punch knocks his teeth in and he's down on the ground, swallowing his blood and teeth. Does that make it not as cool as it was just a second ago before the violence went that far?
I think that situation is totally different, because if, say, for example, it was me and you punched me and I fell down and hit the back of my head and died or went into a coma, it would still be an accident and it would be based on the retaliation of me starting it. But if you maliciously and intentionally tricked me into believing that we were cool and then you killed me, I think those are two separate things. You can accidentally kill someone out of anger, and you can do it on purpose.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if that's just your opinion, or if a lot of people feel the same way, that it would have been retaliation for something he started. So it would have been heat on the guy that started it. I don't know if people say that because they defend that can to death, and my point is, if your hand was empty and you went up to someone you don't know, shit, try that with Booker T. Next time you're in the dressing room, if you've never met him, just go up behind him with an empty hand even and just go, oh, you're a worker? Bam, like that. See what that gets you, I don't understand why people are so But it wasn't even a real can, and now there's half of them say it was a bottle. Okay, anyway, let me move on to the next point, which you've talked about and I haven't. This is where I think that we have a different opinion, but I don't think that my opinion is what people assume it is. Here's why. I don't see them agreeing on everything. Everything is cool. We're high quality friendship, wholesome, hugged it out. I don't see that. What I see is Raja only taking the apology and agreeing only upon the condition that he's going to be able to get back in the ring and get him back. I see them both being set up and two people with different ideas of what they're agreeing to. And if other people don't see that, I'm all right with that. That's what I see. And I don't know how that makes me the devil, but that's what I see. So I don't see it as a snaky move because I don't see a time where Raja escalates the mindset of what he's going to be able to do. It seems to me like from the beginning, he's like, okay, sweet. I get to get in there and fuck him up. And they told me to hit him for real too, and just hit him till they pull him off me. Was it excessive what he did? Of course. That doesn't have anything to do with what I'm saying, and that's how I saw that scene. I saw an agreement made between somebody that didn't have the knowledge of the business, or maybe even the knowledge of a reasonable adult. I don't know, someone that's persuasive, definitely being told to go in there and fuck him up, get the guy back. It's okay. Someone's going to pull you off. And if that's what I got wrong, then okay, I'm hearing that. I'm seeing it. I'm hearing Roger say it the whole time. And then he's sitting there thinking, man, I get to get in there and fuck him up. I've always wanted to do that for a wrestler. People are saying, that's it. That's evidence of premeditation. I'm saying all along, like go back further, they were all in on it. I think they just had different ideas of what they were agreeing to.
Yeah, well, firstly, I don't think that you're the devil for having an opinion. I think that's a silly thing for people to say. But I do think that there's a little bit of dismissal on how Raja was presenting his knowledge of the business and the knowledge of wrestling, because he's on stream saying that he's going to go off script. It's not going to be fake like wrestling.
Well, that part I didn't see. That part I didn't see. You said that you showed that on your podcast. I'm going to have to look for that.
Yeah.
He's like at the commentary. Where's he at? He's ringside, and he's saying this stuff kind of as he's streaming, and he's going like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go off script. They told me I can give him I can go off script and hit him. I'm gonna hit him a lot. I'm gonna and until they pull me off." Basically, he's saying all this kind of stuff.
And I don't hear the script part. I mean, I don't know. I will listen to it again because maybe I missed that. But I did hear him saying, like first he's like, I don't know if I'm going to throw him and then hit him or hit him then throw him. If I throw him or if I hit him and then he goes down, then I can't throw him. I have to pick him up, And he's like, what should I do? And I'm going to hit as many times as I can. That doesn't, to me, seem like he's coming up with a premeditation. It seems like he's opening up the present that they gave him when they shook hands. To me, yeah. That's how I see it.
And he was, in a lot of ways, it seemed like he was building up to it. Like even throughout the day, like he's getting the streams and stuff like that, and people are like, he's going, if I get what was it, like 50 subs, I'm gonna knock him out. What was what he said? 50 subs, I'm gonna knock him out. And then he also and then the after effect of when it all happened, and he's so heated up after the fact, and he's like, everybody's calling me a bitch online, everybody's saying all this stuff, and like flipping out. It was all kind of like, I'm sure that was all building throughout his head throughout the day, where he's like, oh, I'm gonna get a receipt. Well, I'm gonna do a little bit more. I'm gonna do a little bit more. You know what? 50 subs, I'm gonna knock him out. And also, I'm gonna just go off script. They told me I can't. I'm gonna lay into him until somebody pulls me off, until they're supposed to pull me off. I'm just gonna lay into him and just hit him for real. And so I think there was a lot of that going on.
There was that going on, but there's a clip that wasn't making too many rounds, but Roger's sitting at ringside and he's saying that he's always wants to F up a wrestler, that he's going to go off script. that he knows that wrestling is fake. Like he fully says it on stream, and because he does MMA, he knows when somebody goes limp and can't defend themselves anymore, and he knows the seriousness of punching somebody in the face like that. So I don't believe that he is unaware of what a receipt is, and I don't believe that he was unaware that he was about to kill him. I think that Raja knew what he was doing, and he wants to prove a point to his chat. And I think any grown man, because they're calling him a kid constantly, he's not. He's 25. He's a grown man. Anyone that's pushed by their chat to want to kill somebody, I think, is emotionally unstable and shouldn't be streaming in the first place. And again, because he lulled Stu into a false sense of security. And I'll agree, like Stu hitting somebody with a beer can, even if you're backstage at a wrestling event, is irresponsible and silly. But I don't think that forfeits his life. And everyone's saying that, well, you shouldn't mess with an MMA fight or whatever. But it was very clear that Stu like made an honest mistake, and because Raja took that, he took what the wrestlers were saying to him backstage, and that he was going to get his back. But he whispered to his, well, he was whispering, I guess, in the front row, but everyone else could hear him online, that he was going to go in there and he was going to mess him up seriously. And the punches that he threw at him, if nobody had pulled, if I think his name was Douglas Mallow,
Yeah.
If he hadn't pulled him off, Stu probably would have died.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think Raja's bullshitting. I don't believe it at all. I think that he knew exactly what he was doing.
Can show image number 3 real quick.
Which one was that, Rob?
Number 3, the photo.
Of Stu there.
Yeah.
I have that over here.
Yeah.
In the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's probably seen this by now, I'm guessing, but just in case you haven't,
Hold on, let me.
wanted to show. There's this picture of Stu up, smiling. And
Oh, here it is. Let me do a screen share. Yeah, there's a picture of him in the hospital bed.
I know that a lot of people picture him like he's gonna have bandages all over his head. I thought so, you know. I mean, look at. I hope that Stu can take this as a compliment, but I think you don't look that bad, dude. You know, for what people think, and I wonder how much of a factor that was. Everyone in their mind is thinking, "Oh my God, this guy's almost ready to die," and I don't know the extent of his condition, but to see that picture just a few days later, where he appears, you know, to have his face not only intact, but I don't see the bruises. I don't see the swelling. I'm not saying it's not there, but I'm just saying this is a positive thing. So anyone, you know, that's worried and haven't seen this picture, you know, check him out. There he is. And I also do wonder how much that played into people's feelings, you know, because, you know, like you were saying before, people instantly from reading that, boom, rage and hate. There's a lot of that on social media. You know, fortunately for me, all I got to do is not be on social media, and then I don't have any of that toxicity and negativity in my life. It very likely might be in your normal life if you're a troll, but for me, all I got to do is not pay attention, and boom. So kids might not know that in school when they kill themselves, because that's then the bullies are more successful. But also, we talked about Stevie, right? Stevie and the bloke, James.
I have more clips of them too.
Do you have where they're talking about me using that to try to draw attention to the podcast?
Yes, I do.
Show that, and then show that thumbnail that they're using instead of
okay. So I'll play the video first, and then I'll show the thumbnail you have.
Okay, thanks.
So here it is.
I don't know. I want to know why he said he got Rogers back. That's the explanation I don't quite.
Do you think this is just engagement farming, and just really?
That's what I mean. Was it a hook to have you?
I do. You want me to...
No, I was making fun of the way he talks. No,
yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you wanted me to stop it. But that, Rob, when I texted you, the bloke pissed me off. This is when he pissed me off.
Watch his show. It's a real question. Rob's not the type of person that I would know to do the rage bait, or the people that want to watch an RVD podcast or follow Rob Van Dam don't need a hook or a bait or a tease or something controversial. That people just, in that vein before this, people just love Rob and love his take on stuff, and they'll subscribe and watch his show. That's why I don't understand why he would tweet something like that to get people to watch, if that's what you're saying.
When I watched everything, and when I say that I have his back, I'm not saying I'm going to stand back to back and fight a crowd of effing million people that are trying to lynch him. What I'm saying is I see the pathway that he took
You
that
can
led
cut
to
it
what happened.
anytime, dude.
Oh yeah. So there it is.
But I just want to make a point. Like I said before, did I post that to let people know that I wanted to talk about it on the show in case they're interested? Yes, I did. Obviously, I don't get the crime there, but Bloke is saying, do I not really feel like I see it a different way, but in fact that I just say that for clickbait or whatever, right? I just showed you a picture of Stu, new picture that's up. He's smiling. It's been up all day. You've probably already seen it a bunch of times. He looks great. It's a very positive thing for us to see, right? Let's see what Stevie and James the Bloke chose to put up to draw people to their podcast just hours ago.
Here it is.
Let's see. Oh my God.
Hey.
What a good choice. That's not, there you go. There you go, James. Show him dying. There's so many videos that say even worse than you think. And obviously they know how to jump on those trends. And that's part of the reason they get really big hits. But come on, look what they choose to show. And I'm showing you that the guy's doing better and smiling and showing you a positive fucking vibe. So anyway, this is the pot calling the kettle black. This is the reference he doesn't get, where I said it's like JR was calling Vince ugly because Katie was like, that's funny that, that he says Vince looks so rough because look at him. And I said, well, one doesn't have anything to do with the other, right? That's why he says that's the pot calling the kettle black, because he realizes if you're a basic thinker, you're going to think of it that way. And you're, and instead of realizing that what he has to say stands on its own, regardless of who's saying it, right? In that opinion, the guy's a commentator. That's what he does. Mm-hmm. That's for a living. So, all right.
Well, Rob, let me also add too that James here, I've noticed the past 3 days in a row, maybe it's been, there's like 5 clips covering this, like that they clipped up and shared online. Not only that, but the initial clip where they're talking in full depth about the attack and what happened, he's posted that 3 separate times. Like,
but they know what they're doing though to get traffic though.
Yeah,
I don't hate them for that. They're doing that and they get like tens of thousands of numbers and shit, and that's what they want to do. Obviously this isn't as important to me, or I would spend more time trying to jump on current topics and shit. But this one I thought was interesting. I didn't know the guy was the number one enemy, Raja, before I put that first post out. But I'm not going to apologize for it. I now you know what I meant by it. No, you still don't know. Because I don't know. People are still saying, Rob, you're so wrong. Yeah. Maybe I am wrong. On what though? Am I wrong on thinking that they both had a different idea of what they were agreeing to with that handshake? Because that seems to be a point of contention.
Well, Michael, what more do you think? Like, what more do you kind of disagree with on Rob on a lot of stuff and stuff like that? Maybe let's get your perspective on it, because I see like certain ways where, like, yeah, in some realm I kind of disagree with Rob, but overall I agree with Rob's point and what he was getting at, like in the ultimate grand scheme of it all. And like I'm seeing how Raja got to that point was he got heated up, he got fired up. It wasn't right. There was a lot of miscommunication going on. And boom, we got this attempted murder happening in the ring, and I think you should go to jail, and that's it. But what do you kind of disagree with? Big points that maybe we're missing on that we haven't really addressed yet.
I think the thing that people dislike the most with a lot of the conversations, whether it's the conversations that have happened here or with Chael Sonnen or Mark Henry, is that it feels like excuses are almost being made for him. And it's almost like, like we have to draw from all of these hypotheticals when the situation, to me at least, looks very simple and clear cut. And I don't think people disagree with the fact that you're saying that he should go to prison for it, because it everybody, even JBL said it looked like attempted murder. I think people just don't like, and I didn't like the fact that it was like, let's look at it this way and let's look at it that way, when it was very clear what had happened. And I think people also like, I think that the whole like beer prop can thing is kind of irrelevant. Whether it's a real beer can or a prop can doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I think everyone can agree Stu did something silly, and he should probably think twice about doing that, even if he is backstage. But what followed that was completely unjustifiable. I think that the other thing that I've been seeing is that a lot of people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't talk about this because Raja could beat you up." And I'm like, yeah, of course, like Raja could probably beat up most people talking about it, but you should still be able to share your opinion on the situation. And I think
Everyone's
that's
beating
also,
me up. I got the same problem. Everyone's bullying me for speaking up and voicing my opinion.
yeah, I think Rob
Yeah,
and
horrible.
yeah, I think
Horrible.
anyone should be able to voice their opinions. Of course, like Raja could probably kill me in 5 seconds, but it doesn't mean that I can't talk about what he did.
Of course.
So yeah, I think with all of the takes that have been had, I think people don't like the fact that there's like a lot of skirting around the issue, when it's very clear to me what happened. Raja snaked him, and I think if you shake a man's hand and you accept his apology, everything before that is irrelevant. And I know in the real world that people don't operate like that, and there's a lot of things that happen on like a very dishonorable plane. But
you
for
do
me,
agree. You do agree that the apology was conditionary, right?
what is, as in like,
As
he was
in, it
tripping.
had conditions. As in, Raja. To me, it looked like he didn't want to shake his hand. He was still holding that grudge. And then Black Pearl, Reno, Kishi's cousin, says, "Hey, we're gonna work it out. So you get back in the, you get him back." And all I hear over and over is them saying, "Get him back, get in there and fuck him up," and then him saying, "Yeah, they told me I can hit him for real." Now it sounds like I missed a clip where he says something about that he knows it's scripted or something. I got to look for that, because obviously that's an important piece that that I can't not consider when I'm trying to put everything together there. That would change some things, because I'm under the impression that he's that slow and really doesn't know what's going on. And it's kind of like hey Dom, it's your birthday, and your girlfriend tells you at the end of the night she's going to let you do anything you want to her.
Oh,
That's your deal. You shake her hand, boom, right? Now you go fucking go mow the lawn. She'll see you later on. And you're thinking, man, what am I going to do with this girl? She said anything. And you start thinking, wow, I've always wanted to do that. I wonder if she would, yeah, I think I'll do that. I think I'm going to ask that. And, oh, no, she said anything. And you start thinking, what? Wow, anything I want. And you build up this fantasy in your head. And you got encouragement, wherever it comes from, telling you, fucking go for it. Think big. Fucking maybe she's doing it. Think big, don't fucking, sky's the limit, whatever. Dude, fucking don't hold back. And then you're like, boom, here's what I want you to do. It's after that kind of build up, boom, there's your fantasy. And you know what? You feel like, and you have a story to back it up, like, you are within your rights of reasonability to think big and to go all out because they were telling you to. Is that, I mean, is that like, can you not see even a broken road of that in the same scenario, Mike?
I think that if like your girlfriend said to you, you can do whatever you want, and your conclusion ended with like either like sexually assaulted her or beating her up, like you could make the argument that she said I can do whatever I want, but I would also turn around and say you're a retard,
That
like,
ain't
you're
gonna-
stupid. Like
That's a good point. Yeah.
there's obviously
I
like,
was thinking about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
my girlfriend might say to me, Mike, you can do whatever you want to me today, but I'm pretty sure in her mind she's not thinking smash my head against the radiator all day, like, because we're grown-ups, we know this. But if you do that,
But
then
is it possible? Okay, agreed. She's not thinking that. But if you're a fucking crazy psycho with built up pension and frustration, is it possible that you are thinking, of smashing her head in at the same time that you're both saying, okay, cool, I'll give you my wish in a few hours? Is it possible that you're thinking two different things?
Yeah, it's possible to think two different things. One person can be sane and well adjusted, and the other one can be a psycho.
So is there any question that Raja is a psycho?
I don't know if he's a psycho. I don't think he's well adjusted though.
Yeah,
I think he's not. Obviously, like with all of the taunting that he's received, everyone deals with it differently. Like I've been sent death threats. I've been taunted since I opened up my YouTube channel, but I'm not that kind of person. Like even if I came on here and you both just absolutely ripped into me, I would just go to bed tomorrow. I'll go to bed now, I'll wake up tomorrow, and I'll just get on with my day. I'm not that way inclined. I don't really get upset about comments on the internet, but Roger's obviously different. That doesn't absolve him of what he did, but that does point to the fact that he might not be as well adjusted as people think, because if your chat eggs you on and you're like, watch, I'm going to be a crash out, watch, I'm going to do it, then at that point, if your chat can egg you on, what else can egg you on to do things, and how much worse could it possibly get?
No question about that. No one's saying the guy, is a genius
well,
or strong-headed.
I think there's definitely a lot of mental instability with him, and I wouldn't label him a psycho, but what he did ended up was psychopathic. I think, like laying into it and just kind of just going unbridled on it. I'm kind of in the middle of the road when it comes to him understanding the business and not at the same time. I think there's a somewhere in between with that, because I think he might understand the basics, like, oh, I can go off script. I can hit this guy. I think so. But I think in the grand scheme of it all, he doesn't understand like the full aspect of the business itself too, where it's just like, oh, well, I'm just going to lay into this guy because they told me to. I think there's a little bit of a in between what you guys are both saying in a lot of ways. But I do think ultimately he did understand the notion, but he got so heated up to the point where he just unloaded on this guy and took advantage of him.
Even if he didn't understand the business and how it works, he does understand what it means to hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And he understands what it means when a man goes limp. I mean, I'm not a fighter, I'm not a wrestler, but as soon as Stu's head hit the mat, all of us saw his arms just flop. So anybody that has done any sort of like watched any MMA or watched any wrestling will know straight away Stu didn't land properly. And again, before the altercation took place, he made his intentions very clear. So I know there's people that are defending him, and I understand why Rampage would. Like, I've got people in my family that are opposite to me, and they're a bit mad, and if you do something to them, they might do something crazy, and their parents will still defend them. So I'm not even mad at Rampage for that. But at the end of the day, it's very clear to everybody else what he did. And I don't think lack of knowledge of the business really changes that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he to the point he got to was just that is completely out of line. Obviously, like there's no excuse for it.
To that point, last week I tried to show this video, but it cuts it off when you show it. That's why I got to put more padding when I tell you to do it. But anyway, what it was, Mike, I thought. Maybe not everybody knows, but I'm pretty sure, and I wanted to get an MMA guy on, but I didn't want to too many. But anyway, my understanding is you don't take a chance if you're in an MMA fight, and if the guy is knocked out and you stop. That's a rarity from my experience. It's that they're quick enough and good enough and gentlemanly enough, to be like, okay, I know it's over. I think the rule is that, and this is mostly from watching, but I think that you keep going until the ref pulls you off, because you don't want to take a chance, because you might think he's out, hit him a few times, and then you might stop, and then boom, he might get up, you might lose the match. It turns around on you. I think that that's an MMA rule. But I don't know that for a fact. I've always thought that, so I'll be really surprised if it's not. And I had a clip last week of someone, boom, took the Alabama slam, got knocked out, and the dude was on him, bam, bam. I think I counted 6 or 7 shots, and then the ref pulled him off. Because usually the ref is really quick in MMA, and that's part of his job, is being right there. But but I mean, the fighter usually keeps going until he gets pulled off. And usually there's been some trash talking, some shit before the fight leading up to it, to where they have a little bit of emotion invested into it to encourage that. But that's my understanding. Do you disagree with that? Because a lot of people say, well, a trained MMA fighter would know you never hit an unconscious man. But I know you can YouTube MMA, fighters hitting unconscious men, and they'll probably give you. I should look that up before I say that for sure. But I know I've seen videos under different names of that, and I've seen a lot of fights of it where the guy gets out, usually still gets 1 or 2 shots in, and they're ugly because you're like, oh, he didn't have a chance to block it. That he ate that. But I think that's a chance that they take if they're not doing a submission or the ref's not right there stopping it. But is that my way off?
Yeah, I personally disagree with your assessment, because there's a couple of things with MMA, and there's one in particular, Roger, that you can pull from. Everybody has seen the fact that he got a concussion from the head kick that he took at sparring. If he got that head kick concussion during an actual match, that person that kicked him would have continued attacking him, because it's a sanctioned match. There's money on the line. They're supposed to do that. But in sparring, all MMA fighters know that when someone goes wobbly, you stop, because you're not having a real fight. So they have that knowledge to not attack somebody when you're not in an actual fight. And with Stu's situation, it's one step further, because Stu's not a real fighter. He's a wrestler. And because Roger knows that, it makes it even worse. He knows that Stu probably can't, even if Stu was on his feet and completely coherent, Stu probably couldn't beat him in a fight, right? Because I'm sure you guys have seen Roger fight before. He knows what he's doing. Like he
didn't want to fight. Stu definitely did not want to fight.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want to get into a fight with Roger. Like he would obviously beat us up, but Roger knows that. He knows how strong he is. He's Rampage's son. He's very well trained. In sparring, they understand when someone's wobbly to back off from them, which is on video. So they should be able to understand to back off from somebody who's in the ring, who's not a fighter, who's clearly out cold. And Roger knew all of those things, but he was so enraged by all of the things that had happened prior to that he stopped caring about the fact that Stu's just another person, and he just saw him as like the end point of all of his anger, and he just took it all out on him.
I agree with that.
But I mean, yeah, that's definitely, I can see that too. Stu, that's why for me, like, it's most believable that Stu thought that Raja knew about the head smash, because we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't go around smashing each other, especially if we don't know each other. I think that Stu's going to tell us that they told him that Raja was expecting it. That's what I think. That's my guess, trying to make sense of this, because it doesn't make sense for anyone to go up and just someone that you don't even know and not expect to at least get smacked.
I watched, I don't know if you know these content creators called Abba and Preach, but they did a breakdown of it as well. And these ain't my words, these are their words. But they looked at the situation and they said, Stu, I mean this respectfully, this is their words. They said that Stu might be a little bit slow and he might not understand like basic concepts that maybe some of the other wrestlers do. Because one of the promoters was saying, yo, dude, he's not a worker. Like, what are you doing? And I'll admit, like, when I saw that, I was like, whoa, what are you doing? But again, all of that sort of disappeared the moment that they made up, and then all of that ensued.
Right. I'm with you too. Like, just from a visual perspective, it doesn't seem like Stu's all completely there in a lot of ways. And I think that, him doing that was just like, hey, I want to help get myself over in a certain way. So this guy's filming. He's a worker. I'm going to make an angle out of this because I'm a wrestler. And I think that's maybe the mindset he had. Obviously, it was a bad mistake, and he should have done it. And then he apologized. So, and at that point, it's like, hey, okay, everything's cool. But I do think Rob makes the point of it being contingent.
It was a conditional apology.
Yeah, it was a conditional. Oh, because Raj was not accepting his apology until he heard, oh, hey, I can hit him back? Okay, well, yeah, now we're cool if I can hit you back.
That's what I think. And I think in his head, but that's the way that I saw it. And it's just my opinion. I'm not, come burn my house down over it. You know, like
no, you're right. You're right that that's how he did see it. I think the thing is that even though he did see it like that, it was just wrong. It's wrong to do that, to shake someone's hand and then stab him in the back like that. I get that he was upset, and I get that he'd been getting punked out by people, but at the end of the day, no matter how much stuff had happened prior to that, Stu didn't deserve to be the end point of all of that anger. So you're right. Like, it was he accepted that on the condition that he could get a punch in, but problem is that he didn't get a punch in. He threw like haymakers at him. I said in the video that the best way to describe it is in Tekken, there's a character that literally mounts you and starts punching you in the face as soon as the match ends.
I know that.
Yeah, Brian Fury, right? And that's what we were watching. That's what it looked like to me.
Well, but I think that Rob, that's completely what Rob said last week, though, too. Is like, you know, at the end of it all, it was irreprehensible about it, and like the ultimate outcome was inexcusable. But what Rob was explaining, I think what people missed or aren't getting it to the point was like that's how it all built up to. Like Rob was just explaining how it got built up to a lot of this stuff in a lot of ways, and I think some of the vitriol that comes with it is
so I probably, you know, I probably am guilty of rambling and was probably misunderstood by many. Maybe some people did understand, because there's still, I see a couple in the chat room saying that I'm wrong. I still don't know what I'm wrong about, but I guess about maybe.
Hi, baby. Hey, y'all.
I guess about my interpretation of what their conditions were. I guess maybe that's what I'm wrong about. I don't know, but
yeah.
Fuck, what was I had a point that I wanted to.
I also just wanted to say that like I'm not one of those people that wishes death on somebody because I disagree with them. So even with what Raja did, I don't want Raja to be killed for it. I think that he should be punished however the justice system sees fit, or if they don't, I don't know what's going to happen because laws are different over here in the UK. But I don't want to like see him get jumped or something. I think that would be wrong as well. But I think if you commit the crime, you have to do the time, whatever that is, whether that's a ban on kick or going to prison. That's really up to the American justice system. But yeah, a lot of people are asking me why am I wishing death on him, which I never said. I don't know where they got that from. I wouldn't wish death on somebody. I think that's weird. So I don't know what's going to happen with him.
Well, Rob, I do have the lawyer clip.
I'm sorry, but having people having these ass trolls send me private messages saying that I'm a piece of shit. It's like getting a message that they don't know how to spell, and you finally put it together and figure out, and then it says you're stupid. The irony.
Well, Rob, do you want me to play the lawyer clip? Because we have
do that, dude. We got this clip. This is something I saw, and I liked the way that he put this. And I thought, and I still do at this point, think that this is all I was saying. Is what this guy says when he wraps up what Raja's defense would be, and he says what I just told you, I think. So go ahead and play that.
Yeah, here's the clip right here.
The fact that Raja is a trained MMA fighter, a professional MMA fighter, prosecutors could argue that this is an aggravating factor. See, courts have found that boxers and trained fighters can be treated as deadly weapons themselves. That's why boxers and MMA fighters have to be licensed. And obviously, prosecutors are going to be saying that this was premeditated. And for evidence, they're going to show Raja talking to people in the chat, explaining to them exactly what he was going to do and what his intent was. Now, if you're an attorney representing Raja, the obvious thing you're going to say is this was all part of the show. He was instructed to do what he did, and he just followed command. Now, Raja's defense is going to be simple. I was told to do this. They told me to give him a receipt. They told me to jump in the ring and hit him. They knew I was not a trained wrestler. They knew that I didn't understand the way the business worked. So I followed directions. I went in, hit him as many times as possible until somebody pulled him off of me. That's going to be Raja's defense. And it makes sense in the context because everything that I just...
That's all I was trying to say. And I think even if I didn't articulate it well, I don't know, that that is what I ended up saying. I just kept saying I only have his back so far, and I've said that every time. And so, you know, if people want to interpret that to mean the worst thing possible, and as we said, burn all their RVD figures, that's on them. I mean, those are those. Remember that guy in Kentucky that did that? No, okay. But Mike, what did you think about what he just said? I mean, that is Rogers' defense. They told him to do it. He did what he was told. They knew he was going to do it the whole time. That's what I saw. Did you not see that?
Yeah, I think that could be his only defense, because I think.
But isn't it true?
I mean, they told him to go in there and give him a receipt, but they didn't tell him to go in there and try to end his life.
Now, you said on that note, sorry to interrupt you, bro, but on that note, this is something that I just remembered I wanted to ask you. You said that they told him to punch him one time. Do you have evidence of that?
Did I say that they told him to punch him?
No, I think they just said receipt though. I think he said.
Yeah, I just said.
A minute ago when you were talking, I heard it, but okay.
I can't remember if they said.
I think that's left to interpretation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that his defense, that could be his only defense, but I think it's a weak one, and I think the evidence against him will probably trump anything that they try to put forward. I'm not a lawyer or a solicitor, so I'm just sort of like speaking off the dome, but his defense to me is pretty weak when you put together all of the things that were caught on stream.
Well, I caught Chael Sonnen's clip, and
which, by the way, let me get this in here. This is a good time to put this in. I noticed Mark Henry, Chael Sonnen, and RVD all got the it's sad. What was the other one? It's embarrassing. It's like we're watching him ruin his career right in front of our eyes. We all got that one.
We're seeing
and
that.
We all got the concussion thing, which maybe I'll ask you about that, but go ahead, dude.
But Chael was basically saying, like, there could be something that happens, and like he was talking about how it can be like a benefit for a wrestler in a way that like Stu could say, no, this was all kind of part of the plan in a certain way, and that, you know, because what he would be doing is sacrificing himself out of the business if he were to say go against it in a certain way, and like that could be incentive for Stu to say like, no, we're all kind of. He knew I was aware of what was going on, and he was aware, and even though it was horrendous and awful and everything like that, but I don't know, that's just another ripple that could kind of come into play. Like Chael's take on it, I was kind of not really all for, but I thought that point at least was something to kind of think about a little bit. But
yeah, I saw Chael got ripped apart.
He got ripped apart.
He got ripped to shreds. So I briefly touched on it, but yeah, I disagree with most of the way Chael went about the conversation. I don't think it benefits Stu to try and keep kayfabe alive in this situation. No. I mean, anyone watching that will know he's lying anyway, so it'd be a waste of time.
Right.
But I think the way that I took streamlining what I thought Chael was trying to say overall was that the fans want to argue with wrestlers about how it really works in wrestling, you know, like we don't know, and like they know more than us, and they don't, and they're never going to believe us, and they're always going to say we're crazy when it comes to an argument that has to do with that. But so what I got of him saying was basically that, as I'm saying, that it was set up and that they were both, you know, in different words. I think he's saying that it was part of the show. It was set up. Stu and dude agreed to what was going to happen. He was going to come out there and beat the shit out of him and get him back. And who knows? Stu might have said, "All right, you know, go. Don't worry about holding back. You know, go ahead and send it in." I don't know. I don't know Stu. But I do know how the business works. And
yeah, I wouldn't claim to know more than a wrestler. Like I think that would be silly. But I think I was reading the chat and I saw El Topo talking about the fact that they would say that back in the day as a way to protect the business and themselves, because I heard from, I think, Mark Henry that, or maybe not Mark Henry, but someone said if you lost a fight, you were essentially going to get fired.
I think that was Chael. Chael mentioned that.
Was it Chael? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I understand that from like an old school perspective. I completely get that. But the only issue with that argument in 2025 is that everyone knows what's going on now. Like the curtains have been pulled all the way back, so it seems a bit pointless.
it doesn't seem from my perspective that it's really all the way back and that you're getting 100% of what it's really like, especially when fans think that it would be okay to just hit one another just because we're in a dressing room and, oh, I thought he was a pro wrestler. That alone tells me the fans really aren't, they don't really get it. And they've always thought that they get it more than they did. And then they took over the business. And that's why the business is the way it is right now compared to how it was, because those fans that thought it was all scripted made it scripted. They're running it now. And this is scary thinking of when the next generation of fans come up, the fans that think it's okay to just hit one another in the dressing room. Oh, hey, you're a worker? Crack. Let me crack you with a chair, or empty-handed, anything. Like I said, those guys are going to be running the business in a few years. And I'm trying to imagine what the business is going to evolve to. And the thing is, they'll think that's always how it was, just like the people do now, but it ain't always been like this. And anyone that's been doing it as long as me will tell you that.
Yeah, like, I mean, when I said that, I don't mean that like I know what's going on behind the scenes. I think obviously when I was a kid, like for example, when I first saw The Undertaker, I thought he was a dead man. Like I didn't know. And I asked my mom, what is that? But obviously now we know, it's an act and everything. But what I mean by that is because we know that like it's a lot of things are like premeditated and whatnot. I think everyone watching that situation can tell the difference between fiction and reality. And I get that the whole kayfabe aspect of it. I just think that this would be a bad situation to use that particular like mindset on, because it was so serious and because it could have gotten even worse than what it was. But yeah, I think you're right, and I think everybody else is right in saying that Stu made a mistake. Like he should not have taken that beer can, and I don't think that we should just brush that off, because in reality, if I walked outside and hit somebody, a proportionate response is not to like shoot me, but it's a realistic one, because some people react like that.
And they have a gun.
Yeah. So I think that it's a good it's a good lesson to learn. I still don't think he deserves what he got.
No.
I still place the blame almost entirely on Roger because of everything that followed. But yeah, if I walk outside now, I can't tell somebody how to react to me. If I punch them, they might punch me back, or they might brick me. So
yeah, you don't get to set the rules on when it ends if you start something.
yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay.
But I agree, you don't get to set the rules, but I will also judge you if you do that to someone. So I think you can have both things at the same time.
I think it's very well said. Yeah, absolutely. We got a bunch of super chats to hit, so let's take a look. Some of there's one I'm not going to read because it's just kind of condescending and trolling, so I'm not going to do that one. It was $2 anyway, so thanks for the $2. Thanks for the $2. Yeah, somebody said
but I don't mind, CTE, it's the marijuana. All right.
Yeah, no, it's just this is
have fun with that, or conversation or real question.
Somebody asks Rob, would you go Raja on Stevie or James for this?
No, you know what? I tried to think about, could I even like do that? I mean, you guys both said you don't think that he's psycho, and the reason that I was thinking he was because I don't know if I could continue to be punched on someone's face knowing that they're out. And I've wondered, could I do that? And then thing is, people usually say that they see red or whatever. Thing is, I don't get mad. So, obviously, no, I wouldn't do that. Could I want to hurt somebody so bad that I would want to do what Raja did? Sure. I can imagine wanting to hurt somebody that bad, especially knowing, that he didn't die.
Yeah, it was just rough stuff. That he makes our theme music. You heard the countdown song, Mike? This is the guy that made our countdown song.
Oh yeah, nice. It's sick.
Thanks for the $20, man. RVDology says it sucks to be a hater. When people hate on me, I tell myself haters keep hating while I keep creating. Who's the winner of that exchange? Keep the positivity, my dude. RVD.
Very true. Very true. Appreciate you, dude.
Ladies
on Instagram from him as well.
Yeah. check it
I was
out.
trying to make it to Venice Beach tomorrow to shoot. Actually, he's doing some music videos and stuff, and
Oh,
I was trying to work that in, and till the last minute,
the
which
last
is before the show actually, but maybe next time.
Hey, heck yeah. Lady Nisa, who's also a member of RVD TV.
Not Maddie. That was that Venice Beach dub?
That was Seth. That was Seth.
Okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
dude.
Yep. Lady Nisa, who's a member of RVD TV, thank you for the $5. Can we talk about the fact that people associated with the school were not told to talk to the police before that? Yeah, did you hear all about that, Rob?
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, there's no reason to not believe it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and also like I could just imagine like in certain neighborhoods, like in New York or whatever, you would never talk to the police. You know what I mean? Especially like if you're in the mafia families, like some of that shit, they might have even shot your brother, and then when the cops come around, you tell them you saw nothing because you hate the cops and you're gonna go try and kill the person that shot him anyway. You know, like so that's not hard to believe. And if I don't think they could enforce that, you know what I mean? That would probably be illegal, I guess. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We all have a right to free speech. I can't tell you, they can't keep you from speaking, but I can imagine them advising, especially if they're supposed to be a family. I can imagine getting together, you know, say, "Oos, here's what we got to do, Oos." You know, like don't say nothing. You know, we need to work this out inside. I mean, I can imagine them saying that, trying to cover their asses and everything. But I don't know the facts, though.
Yeah.
Did
Hey,
hear
Mike,
it. It's probably true.
Yeah. Mike, you can feel free to stick around. I just know it's like 3:00 or whatever there. So if you need to leave, you can feel free to. But
Yeah,
we
I'm
can
all right. I'm all right for now. Thank
You're
you.
good? Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. Let's see. The Dark Knight Returns. Rob, how do you compare this to Bob Holly and Renee Dupri? I heard you pulled Bob off Renee. And which one was worse in your opinion? Well,
you are familiar with this story, right, Mike?
Yeah, I've heard several stories like about it.
So I've already like given my opinion of that so many times, and including using that as a reference a few days ago on the show. And yet some people still will twist that around and twist everything around, you know, and still don't get it. I heard somebody, one of the platforms, I think the last time I even looked at it, which was several days ago, one of the platforms, someone said after the show, RVD said it wouldn't have mattered if Raja would have hit him right after he hit him with the can or waiting or waiting later. And I was like, motherfucker, that's the opposite of what I said, you know? And like, anyway, I was just, you know, like they are what they are, you know, and they only exist there. But the Bob Holly incident was something that it was ugly and kind of somewhat comparable. And I compared it because of the fact that Bob wanted to fight Renee Dupri, and he wanted, and by the way, it wasn't like two guys that are like in UFC living in the house for, you know, competing or anything. It was like Renee trying to be respectful, trying to do the right thing, because that's the way the business is. You know, Bob's a veteran. Renee's 20 years old, maybe, or something. He's really young, 21. And so he would get certain kind of heat, or he was still confused about what would get him heat and what not. And it's a very confusing position to be in when you're at that age and you want to fight back with one of the veterans, but at the same time, not have everybody team up on you for being and bully you. No, team up on you for being disrespectful. So anyway, Bob let it be known to everybody, including Renee, that he was going to fight him when they had this tag match coming up. And it was Bob and somebody against Renee and Suzuki tag match. So whenever Renee would be in the ring and Bob would get tagged in, he would come right in with like speed walking pummels would be the way to describe it. just all the way across the ring, bam, 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 left, left, right, just pile driving his fists. And Renee would eat him, and then tag out like every time. And Renee would try to work with Bob's partner or whatever. And he was trying to be professional and still keep his job while at the same time not get fucking beat up by Bob, who was very angry at him. And it was ugly in the match. And afterwards, Bob was chasing him with a chair, and Renee came running back through the curtains to the dressing room. And he stopped just a little too short, and Bob went wham, and he waffled. I remember if it was with a chair or a forearm. I think it was a chair, but Renee went down and then got the stomp on the back of the head, which bam. And then, I might have, I don't know if I pulled him off or not. Honestly, I probably did. And it seems like I would have just said, hey, that's enough. And got Bob off of him, without trying to fight, because I got along with both of them, but I did not agree with that. That was an ugly thing to do. It was his decision. He thought it was the right thing to do. Really didn't have anything to do with me more than this thing has to do with all these people that have taken the time to track me or Katie down on a platform to say you're a POS. It's really, they have nothing to do with. But anyway, I think I think that's all. I mean, they said something about me pulling them off, and I've heard the interviews do that, and I heard someone else, maybe Kurt Angle, claim that he pulled them off. And if Kurt was positive, then I wouldn't argue against it, because I really don't remember. But it seems like I was right there, and just just one kick. Okay, we get it. Because what are you gonna do? Let him keep kicking him in the back of the head while he's laying face down on the floor,
Yeah.
Right.
But that was something that we compare in the wrestling business to this, because he had that fucking stewing in his head, and then took care of it later in the ring when someone's trusting them with their body. And so, by our rules, that's not something you do.
Right. Agreed. Crazy shit. Jason Carney, thank you for the $5. Rob needs to pick a hand. Stu apologized 3 times, 2 hours before the attack. A receipt would have been right when the can work happened.
But Jason, no, I agree. I don't disagree with that. If you hate me because I disagree with that, then that's just your misunderstanding. So, boom, that one was easy. But but the apology was unconditional. Or I'm sorry, conditional, not unconditional. The apology was conditional, and fucking Raja, whatever he had in his head for, I get to get him back. All right, man, as long as I get to get in there and get him back, okay, then I'll accept the apology. Whatever was in his head was some crazy shit right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Brooklyn Brian, thanks for the $2. RVD, what about the guy covering Stu for the 3 count afterwards? The guy made a pin. There was the pin made after the.
I'm glad they brought that up. For this, I can get legitimate heat. People can hate me for my real answer on this, because after seeing it a few times, I liked it with in mind, if the guy covering him didn't know what was going on, didn't know how bad it was, and was trying to save the business, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you do that from old school thought? So there's that, unless it was something where you knew, wait, every second counts, but you're not going to move them anyway. You're gonna, you know what I mean, and you're gonna wait for the medics. Why not pin him sometime between then and when the stretcher comes down?
I literally heard somebody today, a famous wrestler, big time wrestler, share a story where he was seeing somebody get hit repeatedly, really, really badly, but he thought it was, it was a work, it was going on, but legitimately later on he found out it was legitimate, and then after the fact he took action, but he wasn't aware of it at the time. So
people don't want to believe that you might not realize it, even though you're right there.
At that point, are we under the impression that the ref didn't know?
Well, maybe the ref. Oh, that's a good point about the referee.
I haven't watched it from the ref's point of view, But what I'm saying, which people you can go ahead and hate for not misunderstanding, but I really mean this from my point. If dude's down and if you're waiting for the EMT to come and they're on their way and you're standing there and you don't know what to do, Stu, wake up, bro, you need something, maybe a few smacks or something. I mean, I come from a school where that would probably be the right thing to do, is at least, fucking cover him to save the story. And I realize that, like as that dude in the cowboy hat said, kayfabe is dead. But I still don't like it. That you know what I mean? Like that's my least favorite part about the business is, as I already explained, about the generation coming up, thinking they knew what it was. They made it what they thought it was. Now it is what that was, and these other ones are going to be coming up next. Is whether you look at it as evolving or dissolving, it's changing over the years, and I don't mind being tagged to the old school because that's really where my fundamentals are, my values.
Let's make it clear to the chat and all the social media people that will be reading this is that Rob says it's based off of the guy not knowing what was going on making the pin. That he had the old school mindset to make the pin, but the guy didn't know that the guy got annihilated legitimately by Roger.
Yeah, I mean, just to make it clear, just to make my stance clear on it, I think I watched it. The ref was fully aware because at this point, Douglas Mallow and the rest of the locker room had already pulled
him
Roger off, and the ref was kind of like looking around at what the hell's going on, but he knows that something has gone sideways. And then this other, I don't know who that was that ran in for the 3 count. Yeah, and I was watching and I was like, because I've done referee work for indie promotions in the UK before. And I would have told the wrestler, get off of him. What you doing?
Get off of him.
This is madness.
Yeah, like if a wrestler jumped on the guy and said, "You ref, fucking get down here," and had him pinned, you would say, "No, I'm off the clock now."
Yeah, I would have told the wrestler to get off. Like he's coughing up blood. He's lost teeth. There's someone in the ring right now that at any moment, because of Roger's strength as well, he could have pushed someone off and then just run over and Randy Orton punted the guy that was doing the 3 count. So if it was like a situation where something had gone wrong with a wrestler, like I don't know if it was an angle or not, but when Eddie Guerrero was in the ring, it looked like he was having a heart attack and JBL pinned him. There's only 2 parties in the ring and they both know each other. But if there was a third party in the ring that we don't know who wants to seriously hurt you, I think at that point the referee's got to like step in and be like, "What are you doing?" So he could break free and then we could all get hurt.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you on that one for sure. Yeah, the referee should have just been like, fucking get off him.
Yeah.
So one story that I can kind of relate to this, and when I was brought in, you don't, no matter what, the number one rule is to always protect the business, and we were committed to it. And I'm just telling you to explain my mindset because I'm not inviting people to say, "Well, fuck you, this is 2025." Like I know that, and I don't like that. But when I wrestled Abyss in TNA, and this was like what 2000, so I was there from 2010 to 12. Was it back then or was it the next year? No, it was back then, 2010 and 12. Anyway, because Hulk Hogan was there and was part of it. And I'm wrestling Abyss, and we're at the very end of the match. And I did a springboard back kick off the second rope corner. Bam! And I hit him, boom. And he went down, and I want to go for the Rolling Thunder, but he's a little out of position. And I'm like, fuck, why ain't he moving into, like, I can't really hit him right there. And I went down and looked at him, and his mouth was all bleeding. And he goes, "Rob, you kicked my fucking teeth out." Pretty intense moment. I had no fucking idea. No idea. Like, I didn't feel it on my foot. I almost didn't believe it, like, holy shit. And I just gotta go for this Rolling Thunder. Hulk Hogan's gonna trip me or go to trip me, boom, something. That's the end. And I got to get there. That's just the way that I was trained. I scooped him up. So, and I'm like, sorry, dude. And boom, I slammed him or something. Went for the Rolling Thunder. And I don't remember, Hogan tripped me or something. But I was like 1-2 moves away from being right there. And when I'm in that position, the thought would never cross my mind to say, oh, boom, the show's over. Never. And not just me, but people that were from my generation. It would never even cross our mind. Just like if we're hurt in the ring, we would never think, maybe I should stop the match and tell them I'm hurt so they can carry me out. Never would cross our fucking mind. No matter what happened, if we're physically able to continue, then we would have. Different mindset, different business, and maybe some of my perspective is outdated. Maybe now in some dressing rooms it is cool to go up to someone, as long as they're a worker, fucking crack an egg over their head. I've never been
Rob,
interested.
could I ask you, like, if in that situation with you and Abyss, if there was a third party in the ring who had knocked Abyss's teeth out, would you still aim to go for the Rolling Thunder, or would you guys have all focused on getting that guy out of there and maybe stopping?
I think focus on the guy. That's a great fucking point that has that changes everything. Like I would expect other people to handle it, but if not, then if I had to, I got to be ready to do it. But usually in a situation like that, especially like if I'm the baby face and it's a fan situation, usually security, other refs, and crew people or whatever pile in and beat the shit out of anybody. Then they get arrested for trespassing and shit usually. But yeah, if there wasn't a person there anymore, that say the person hit Stu's, say Raja, bam, and then bam, he's punching him, and then let's say you see Raja get grabbed, contained, pulled away, and then the ref goes down on Brother Stu and says, ref, come on, give me count to 3, let's go, I got him. Then does that change it for you?
I think the only way the situation changes it for me is if the threat of the person that instigated the problem is out of the ring.
You see them go down the aisle. They got it. They're carrying him away like a pig on a stick.
Yeah, I mean, in Stu's situation, it doesn't change it because of how extreme it was. But if it's like I saw an incident at like a house show with Stone Cold and Triple H where somebody jumped in the ring and Triple H just went and attacked the guy, even though he was the villain. He protected Stone Cold. I think in that situation where the threat is gone and there's no serious harm, then I think it's fine. Just continue the show, whatever. But if the person jumped the barricade and smashed Stone Cold's teeth in and he's on the floor like coughing up blood, I would still look at Triple H sideways if he then pinned him, because I'm like, he's on the floor.
Even if the guy was contained, the guy's contained. If the guy was contained, you saw the cops arrest the guy, they took him away, Triple H pinned him and said, get down here and do this. Your morals would say, I'm not sure if I should do that.
Yeah, and I guess because I'm not from like your era in the business, so like I can't really sit here and act like I know what I'm talking about. But just from somebody from the outside looking in, if Triple H is not conscious and I've pinned him, I think it's different to him looking over at me going, just get the pin in and let's finish the match, because he's just not there right now and he's coughing up blood.
Yeah, well,
you could always just be like, the match is over, like call the match. Too.
Yeah, like because they thought the X's for all sorts of things, right? So it wouldn't be weird to see them throw up on X if someone was on the floor knocked up.
Yep.
It'd be weird to me. I've only seen it maybe once, and that was when I did the return in Philly. And they told me about it. If I bleed, they're going to put the X, pull me out, if they can stop the bleeding, cool, I can continue. Otherwise, if they can't stop the bleeding, I'm done. And I'm like, this is my big fucking return. Are you kidding me? Like I gotta not, it's a ladder match, and I gotta make sure not bleed. And Sheamus, wham, hit me with the ladder, busted me open. They pulled me aside, and I'm like, no, this is RVD. Welcome home to Philly.
Philly.
Yeah, damn.
That's when Linda was running for office. That's when Linda McMahon was running for office, and they had to they were trying to cover all their bases. Let's not get blood on television.
Yeah. Well, but anyway, just yeah, everything's conditional, and also I think that the eras change it as well. But
it too makes a difference.
If people like Mike if the fans think like that, they will be running the business if they're not already, and it will just become that. That's my prediction. Which maybe it already is. Maybe they use the X's a lot more than I know.
Oh no, did they get rid of the? It almost seems like they got rid of the X's. I think.
I feel like we're getting sidetracked though.
Yeah.
And
I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm like running the business or telling wrestlers what to do. I just have like opinions, but I'm well aware that I could be ill-informed or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you are very informed. You're giving some good insight too. I appreciate you coming on here too.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, maybe I didn't read this one. Brooklyn Brian, thanks for the $5. What about the children that were present at Knox Wrestling Show and got traumatized? Children weren't there for that MMA violence, mental health mattered.
Yeah, well, that's some ugly consequences. When you say, what about, keep in mind, I've never one time condoned what Raja did. That's not my feelings. So I know I never said that. It was it too far for you, too far for a reasonable person, not too far if he wanted to murder somebody.
Right.
I'm just an outsider. So it all depends on what you're talking about, as far as that goes, subjectively.
Yeah. So he just went too far. So Maddie has a fun one. $2. Thanks. Maddie, RVD and Dom, you are legends. Basic thinkers suck a fart. Thanks, Maddie.
Maddie, fuck basic thinkers.
OJ, he must be a friend of yours too, Mike, or knows your follower.
OJ's always in my streams.
Yep.
What's up, OJ?
Saying hi to both you guys. Cool. Why is King Carter for the $2? Thank you. Why is no one talking about the Black Pearl involvement? That's Reno.
We did.
We did talk about it.
We did.
Yeah, I spoke about it as well.
Yeah.
What do you want us to say, man?
Yeah, go back and rewatch it. I was listening to Jim Cornette's reaction on this, and he said he called him a deflated Alpha or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that.
God.
Yeah, Black Pearl is he set it all up. My story always from the beginning has been the way I understand it. Both Raja and Stu were probably both set up and made an agreement with both of them having different ideas of what they were agreeing to. So far, that still is my view. Now the information about him saying something about wrestling being scripted and he's going to go off on his own or whatever, like that is new to me. So I want to check that out and hear exactly what he says. But as I've always said, I only said so far, and so far means only so far.
There we go. Let me get this one. God Phoenix 66X. Thanks for the $5. RVD, do you still have beef with Chris Jericho? Are you guys cool?
Chris Jericho's awesome. Don't have beef. Don't have beef. I always enjoy our matches. He's a fucking great wrestler in the ring. So I hope I get to wrestle him again sometime. And I just when I've done interviews and I've been incredibly open and honest, I've talked about sometimes working with him while adjusting to WWE was extra challenging and stressful for me at times. And and I'm sure that's what they're talking about, but that's nothing. That ain't no heat. Ain't no beef.
No, to tie it in too, Chris donated $2,500, I think, to the Stu at the GoFundMe and stuff like that.
He usually is the name and marquee lights at the top.
Yep. So there we go, for Chris.
Awesome.
Yep, good stuff for Chris. Seth has another one here. Thanks for the $20, Seth. Dang, man, you're the man. Stevie Richards is a worker, so he can say his piece, but maybe he should start with a thanks for the house. His little co-host needs to pick a hand, though. He's just grifting off the biz to begin with. He has no standing.
I have noticed the bloke's head growing bigger and bigger last few months. You know, he's mentioning his name more, and more and more, and having more clips of just him talking in between. I've just had this thought and thought I'd bring it to you immediately. You know, but good for him because he should be. He's successful. And I like his delivery and shit, but that don't make that not true.
That don't make it not true. Yeah, that's right. He does have his own channel now by himself. I did see that.
Oh, he does? Okay.
Yes, he does. He has.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Not surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So there we go. Yeah, I was not happy with him today. The Dark Knight Returns, $10. Thank you.
Was it because he had an opinion that was different than yours?
No, it was the fact that he was kind of implying that you were grifting, and he grifts all the time. So
I like that thumbnail one. They got it. They AI fucking photo of the guy rolling out of bed, dying on his way to the floor. And newest update. And but we're seeing this picture all day of him smiling, doing the thumbs in the back, jumping rope.
And it's like they make the thumbnails, they make the clips, and then they're throwing it back at us saying we're doing stuff.
Could I just ask, like, are you talking about James?
Yes, James.
Yeah, we are.
Why do you think he's a grifter? Just out of curiosity.
I think that he puts on a lot of his stuff, and like he completely he works with Dutch, he works with Stevie. He does his own thing. He does the wrestling YouTube shoot interviews. He did an interview with RVD, and instead of giving Rob the benefit of a doubt of saying like, "Oh, I interviewed this guy," like he said something weird on X. Instead, he goes back and listens to it and then decides to trash Rob for it. I just don't think he's very sincere. I don't believe that he's very authentic in how he handles himself. He's successful, good for him, and everything to that effect. But I just don't get a good vibe off him.
Okay.
Wow, that's a good thing you got all that pent up anger out before you attach somebody.
Thanks.
And
The Dark Knight Returns. Thanks for the $10. Renee says it was Kurt Angle. Paul London said it was you, and I heard Big Show too. Also, did you see Renee? Did you see Renee in the airplane when his head basically exploded? Also, rate Raja Bob Holly in mass transit. He wants you to rate.
I wouldn't know what to rate him on.
Danger. I mean, I guess.
All fucked up.
Fucked up shit.
Bad situations. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe. Mm-hmm. I've heard the story so many times. I feel like I saw it, even if I didn't. Who knows?
Mike, do you know that story? I'm not familiar with that.
With Renee's head?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that story.
I heard something about it, but I would be misquoting it if I was to recite. It was a long time ago. I'm not entirely sure it's even the same story. Mm-hmm. I've heard the Bob Holly stories. He's the last guy I think I'd want to piss off in the wrestling business from what I've seen. But yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to do some diving into that. All right, another one here. Andre's Gaming. Thanks for the Canadian $2. RVD, your favorite match all time with Edge? Do you have a particular one? Do you remember any of them?
I don't remember one from another.
How do you like working with Edge at least?
Good, man. I mean, we always have great matches. I usually have great matches with everybody, but definitely good. I don't know. I don't remember exactly which was which, but I was working with him and Cena at where when the three-way, angle, something going right at the end when I had to drop the championship belts during that time.
Yeah.
So 2006 6, 7. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'll go with those matches. I don't know which one in particular, but we seems like we were working a lot around that time.
He was pretty hot at that time with the Rated R Superstar.
And I was
taking
and
off.
I was feeling like a superhero bringing it with ECW.
Yeah.
You know, coming back and shit too. So
Yeah.
I was definitely feeling at the top of my fucking superhero game.
Were you a pretty big fan back then, Mike? Around that time?
Yeah. I've been the first match I ever watched was Undertaker versus Undertaker. So
okay.
yeah, I was born in '92, but my mom used to tape like a lot of Bret Hart matches and Shawn Michaels. She was a massive fan of them. And then so I got to watch a lot of stuff from like Macho Man's era going into like the new generation. But yeah, no, I loved it. One of my favorite matches from Rob is when he fought Jeff Hardy on Raw for the IC title, because I remember, I'll never forget, I think it was right at the end of the match, Rob kicked him and he fell off the ladder and it looked like he was going to fall right on his head. And all of us that kind of stood up and were like, oh shit, but he kind of fixed it on his way down. So yeah, that was a really cool match.
That's some good talent right there. I tell you what, Jeff and Rob.
Was that Brian Lee as the second Undertaker?
Yes.
Yeah. The one of them had Brother Love and the other one had Paul Bearer.
I think that was SummerSlam '94, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Typhoon 888. Thanks for the $10. He says thank you, RVD. So there you go.
Well, thank you, Typhon 888. I'm not sure what I did, but I appreciate you joining us and engaging in the convo.
Yes, thank you, Typhoon.
Feel free to hate on weed or CTE or anything like that. Hey, by the way, Mike, do you know much about CTE?
Just like what I read online. I know it's a much bigger conversation now. I know they're still like developing the technology on tracking it and how to understand how the brain works and everything. I know it's like very prevalent in American football or like the UFC. So I know some stuff about it. I'm not going to pretend to be like a doctor or anything, but I know it's quite serious.
What did you mean when you commented on that on the clip that we played at the beginning of the show when you said, I think you said that would be maybe a good defense for Raja?
Yeah, because he had a concussion beforehand, but there's no evidence to suggest right now that is the cause of his anger. It could just be that he has anger issues or that he's upset at people. And I didn't want to lean on the fact that it could be CTE when we don't actually know if it is. Because I know, like I said, whenever I read into it, the studies around it look very complicated, and it looks like the technology is not all the way there to understand it fully. So people that were saying, sorry.
Are you aware there's a big difference between like long-term concussion syndrome and CTE?
Yeah, I know there's a difference. I think my main thing is that
I don't think most people do, so I just was wondering.
Yeah, obviously it's a possibility. It's always going to be a possibility when it comes to the brain, but I didn't want to lean on the fact that it might be that, because then that kind of absolves him, because it's kind of like it was out of his hands, his brain's a little bit damaged, and it might be, but I think it's more likely that it's not this. That's not the case, but that's an assumption. Obviously, I'm not saying it's a fact.
Sure, yeah. Good conversation.
Cool.
Maddie, thanks for the $2. Do we see the other titty, RVD?
I just met Mike, and that's embarrassing.
Yeah, right. That's Well, let's get to know each other a little bit better. Why don't we do that?
They think it's embarrassing fighting to have the right to have an opinion that's different than them. They think I should be embarrassed at that, but I'm only embarrassed at showing the second titty.
You don't want to show the second titty.
No. Embarrassing. Oh my God.
No. One titty's enough. You don't want to be a real slut, Rob. Gem the Dawn.
Throwing his career right in front of us.
Man, when he showed that titty, it ruined it. Gem the Dawn, thanks for the $2. Can't wait to see you wrestle again, Rob. Good insight.
Well, appreciate you saying good insight, Gem the Dawn. Katie was afraid that people weren't going to understand my perspective. And really, so far, it seems like we don't even really disagree on that much. We see the agreement conditions differently. And I don't know. I just suspect that from the start, this crazy dude was thinking he was going to get in an ass whooping, and everyone was okay with it. They just told him more and more and got in his head, which I don't know. Are you going to differentiate that, Mike, or is that basically kind of what happened? But I get that you say that you think the conditions were soft, that they were whole again, and that he was a snake, and then took advantage of him, which obviously that's got to be a part of it too, I guess. But
Yeah, I think that's ultimately what it comes down to for me, that there was a handshake, there was a sorry, and there was an acknowledgement. And then Stu's guard was basically down because Stu let him pick him up. There was no like pushback because I guess in his mind he was like, we planned this. He's gonna get me back because
but you know,
Pearl said it.
you're not saying that Raja couldn't like double leg and like pick him up, right?
No, like I think at the point where Raja picked him up was all fine. It's when he slammed him and then started laying in shot after shot. Like 27 shots is a bit excessive. You could have argued maybe he laid in 2 and then backed away and it was like, oh, okay, I've made a mistake. But he was fully aware of what he was doing. So I think after the handshake and the acknowledgement, that's kind of where like all of the what ifs go out the window for me. It's just a case of you've done this guy wrong. It's like if we had an agreement, like I've come on this podcast now and we've spoken respectfully, and then I come off of the podcast and I just start trashing you, and everyone's like, but didn't you just sit there having a decent conversation? I would look snaky if I did that. So that's how I see it. I don't think you should act one way in front of somebody and then do something behind their back, which is what he did.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I definitely get that and agree that maybe that is a deal, but it looks to me like there's never a point when they're shaking hands where and I'll watch it again too, but I didn't see a point where Roger was like happy. You know, he was like, oh, dude, don't worry about it, man. No, I get it. I see how shit happens like that. No, big misunderstanding, bro. Cool. No, man. No, hey, looking forward to working with you in the ring. I didn't see that. What I saw was pouty face, and it's someone that was reluctantly shaking a hand in agreement, like I get to still get mine, right? And I just think from the beginning that he was psycho and is an animal and just, you know, had some crazy thoughts in his head that he was agreeing to. And thought, you know, he thought his girlfriend was saying, pick a hole, you know?
But Mike, that's basically what you think though too, right? Isn't it? Or am I mistaken?
Like I don't like Rob is right in saying that when he looked at Roger, he could see that he didn't mean it, because that is ultimately what happened. He didn't mean it. But my argument is that it's snaky behavior. And somebody in the chat said, does shaking hands or accepting an apology just suddenly absolve you of all negative emotions? And it doesn't. But that's why I was saying in the video that I do think that stoicism is lost on a lot of people these days, and they lean too much into emotion and they feel like they need to get theirs back rather than just realizing that there was an honest mistake here. It was a dumb mistake what Stu did. It was really stupid. Right. But just realizing that it's a silly mistake. I'm mad at him. Maybe take him aside and be like, look, yo, I'm not cool with you or whatever. I don't want to be a part of this. But he saw it as an opportunity. Like he said it on stream out of his own words that he was gonna hurt him. And he was very clear in saying that he knows it's not scripted, he knows it's not a work or whatever. So at that point for me, it's like you've gone too far, you've crossed the line. Obviously, like Rob said, you don't get to make the rules on how somebody responds, but I still get to judge you for how you respond to somebody. And I think what he did was wrong.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Well said.
Yes, very well said. All right, a couple more super chats here. Folks, we got to. All right, Maddie. Thanks for $2. What was it like working with Sting? Much love, Van Dam fam.
It was awesome because I realized that he was like one of our biggest stars in the business, at least during my whole career. You know, like he was kind of the Hulk Hogan of the South. And so that was really cool. And he was cool to work with. I enjoyed it. I like him. Good guy. and bit of an age difference, and that so that's part of the match is just working around, as he would probably call it, doing all that crazy shit. But then look what he's doing with fucking Darby Allin now,
Yeah.
right? So he's definitely in a different frame of mind, probably with that. But that's probably a lot more controlled than the studios was down there. They would have been like, just find a mattress, and put a black blanket over it. It won't show up. It was cool though. That's it. I think we're 1-1, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
I don't know. I know my debut working with him. Well, I've just told that story recently about getting clubbed to death, waiting on Hawk to run in. Dude, I thought you forgot me, huh? No,
brother.
Never forget. Yeah, no, brother.
No, you're
light it up, brother. That was a different story. But that one I know I won. That was my debut coming in, and then we wrestled again, pay-per-view. I don't remember the finish. So I'm just going to assume that he probably won that one.
Yeah. Good shit. Maddie again. Thoughts on Killer Cross showing up? Yeah, Killer Cross has made the independent scene, so pretty cool to see.
Showing up where?
I think he means like in GCW, and he's been on. I think that might be the only one he showed up at so far, but I know he's booked for an
ECW.
GCW.
Oh, okay. I don't know, man. He's awesome. I saw him today doing a podcast, and he looked good. Good vibes coming out of him, and I like how behind him the fans are. So
yeah,
I guess he can go wherever he wants now.
I emailed him to come on to this show. I haven't heard back from him.
We actually asked him to a couple
nice.
weeks ago.
Yeah,
they were doing something.
Yeah, he'd be cool to have on. Do you like Karrion Kross, Mike?
Yeah, I was a big fan of him. I don't understand why WWE let him go. I thought it was all a work and he's gonna pop up at some point, but apparently not. I think Karrion Kross is awesome. I love listening to his promos. I think him and Scarlett are a good duo. It sucks that he's not there, but as long as he's happy and he's doing what he wants to do.
Yep, that's it, man. That's it. All right. Oop, just popped that one up. Andrews Gaming. I know the answer to this one, Rob. You've talked about this a couple times, actually. Favorite promotion to work for? I think ECW. Am I wrong?
No, you would have to look at what perspective you're going to take. ECW was by far the most fun. WWE, of course, was the biggest, most money, biggest crowds, worldwide schedule, all that. And then TNA was my easiest. It was the least amount of work for the money. And I think those three are probably what they're interested in. I mean, I worked for All Japan for several years, from 93 to 99, actually. And I enjoyed that one, but I was always homesick. I didn't like being on the long tours, didn't like the food, but I liked the matches and the pay. So
yeah,
there you go. Boom.
There it is. All right. This is the last super chat. It's Maddie's membership one. He's been a member for 2 months, so thank you, Maddie. RVD and Dom, give a platform to all opinions. Basic thinkers are like a parrot. Hey, what is a poll? Smoke for 2. All the Van Dam fam, 2 bongs make a right.
Nice.
Thank you, Maddie.
And for people of low substance are polls.
I didn't know what that meant.
I'll tell you what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that was something too that I'm sure confused the poor bloke, James. If he didn't get basic thinkers, then he's probably not going to get people of low substance. But if I showed you the feed of all the people that were bullying, that sent messages saying you're a piece of shit and all kinds of stuff, but that's, yeah, Anyway, just hey, bully. If I showed you all of that stuff, right? But those people, our relationship doesn't have any much substance. Their stories, they want me to believe, like, oh, I followed you for 20 years, and now all of a sudden, boom, I'm turning my back because of I don't like the way that you worded something, or because of what, I'm still not sure. You know what I mean? I still don't even know what the hate is about. If it's a misunderstanding or if it's something that I actually said, I don't know. But those people, we don't have any substance in that relationship. But I'm sure they do. They have substance. They're substantial to their mom. Who lives upstairs, or their family. They have that. So, but to me, as far as our relationship, they're just of low substance. In fact, if I just don't look at social media, then they don't even exist. So it's not like family and friends and people that have known me for a long time that are close to me are reaching out. Rob, you're a piece of shit. You should hang yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that would be substantial.
Yeah.
But it's like cardboard cutout people that know 3 things about me, and 2 of them are CTE and marijuana, and so that's why it's not anything to be concerned about. It's just in their bubble. If in your bubble I'm the devil, that's cool. You normally don't even exist in my bubble unless I go find you on social media, which is very polluted right now, or has been. So anyway, I hope if there's anyone influential listening that, like Maddie, for instance, I hope that a takeaway for anybody on this would be that you can't have a society where it's a crime to have an opinion that's different than everyone else's. You can't. That's not a free society. And I wouldn't want to live in that. I wouldn't want to bring anybody into the world like that. What is that the definition of communism? I don't know. I don't even know. I'd have to look into it. But it's a lot of control. Anyway, so don't be afraid to have an unpopular opinion. And if you don't know the difference between an opinion and a fact, opinions are subjective. There is no right or wrong with opinions. There's not. If your opinion is it's hot out today, and then I say, oh, no, it's not that bad, and you say, you're fucking crazy, dude. No, that is an opinion. There's not what is hot, so you need to know that. I learned that like in 1st or 2nd grade. I don't know if a lot of the fans on the IWC have ever been taught that. A fact is like, noun, verb, adjective. Okay. The horse is black. It's a fact. Look at it. The horse is black. What color is it? Black. Everyone knows it's not colorblind. It's black. It's not debatable. It's a fact. But if you say that horse is big, maybe. I mean, I could argue though, big compared to what? But let's say that horse is pretty. That's a better one. That would be an opinion. So there's no right or wrong. With opinions, it's subjective. You have the right to your opinion. I have the right to my opinion. It's okay if they don't match because we have different values. You're using your values to make your opinion and to judge me by your values. And you're not going to convince me to take your values. I've already got my own values. So don't push your values on me, and don't expect me to be able to see what you see with your values, because I have my own values. So anyone that's trolling, sending all the hate, all I'm doing is looking down on you anyway. So why would you factor in? You don't. So ooh, gross. What an agenda to have to try to make people feel bad. But good luck with that. Y'all should be proud of yourself.
Nicely said. We got a couple more super chats that chimed in. King Carter 9954 says AJ Mana said he let Stu know who Raja was before. Yeah, I didn't catch a lot of AJ Mana's commentary on this. He just.
Oh, you didn't? You should look it up. He's screaming. That's why.
Yeah, well, I saw a little bit, just a little bit. I haven't seen his whole stuff because I was like, well, he's just lying. It seems like everything.
He is in a spot though, position like being on there. You remember what a receipt is, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he knows what a receipt is, and I don't think, all the fans claim to know what a receipt is, but when you're giving a receipt, the size of the receipt depends on how you're feeling. You know what I mean? You can't, like I said before, you can't just go up to Mike Tyson in the Walmart parking lot, smack him on top of the head. Are you expecting him to just do the same to you? Boom, there. Now we're even. No, he's gonna go boom, 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 boom before you even know it. And he gets to decide. He gets to decide the size of the receipt. Now, I don't condone that it was done later. I've already said that to death. If you still don't get it, then sorry about that.
Here's a good one here. The Protoctophile. Thanks for the $5. Yes. Gotta love a civil discussion over any controversy. Much respect all around. Super cool to see Mike getting around. Take care, guys. Cool stuff. Thank you, Proctophile. All right, and the last super chat here is a simple one. You're the man, RVD. AW1.
Oh, that's an easy one to answer.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. And I haven't been looking at the
There's been a lot.
chat room. I don't think I will.
But don't. It was hard for me to keep up with it all. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Hey,
what a goal,
Mike. Talk a little bit about what you got going on and anything you want to promote on here too. It's been really cool to have you on here. You've asked some questions I didn't ask, and I appreciate you doing that and stuff.
No, I really appreciate you guys having on. Obviously, it's a big honor for me being a wrestling fan to be on RVD's podcast. So I really appreciate you reaching out. Like I said, I woke up at 6 a.m. I saw RVD's name in my inbox, and I was like, "Am I still asleep?" So this has been a cool experience for me. It's nice to have respectful disagreements with people and just move forward from it. You don't have to hate each other over it. As for my YouTube channel, it's just my name, Mike Hollow. I'll be honest with people, I don't have any real direction on the channel. Things just sort of pop up. It's going really well. I can't complain. Like, the community is super supportive. I kind of just wake up in the morning and see what's going on and see what I kind of care to speak about. And the one thing that I've tried to do is I've tried to foster a community where you can have right-wing people and left-wing people and people that agree or disagree, and we all get along. Like, there's no fighting. Like, even today we were talking about the Roger Jackson thing, and some people were disagreeing with me, and it was fine. Like, there's no death threats or anything. I find that behavior childish and weird. So yeah, if you like fighting games, then we do loads of streams on like Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter, Bleach, Naruto, whatever it might be. And then my videos are kind of all over the place. So yeah, it's turning into a bit of a variety channel.
Nice stuff, man. Keep at it. Yeah, it's cool stuff. You already have a good subscriber count going, and yeah, you got a good mindset about you, and you're a great conversationalist. So keep cooking with it, man. We'll have to get back on here for some added insight. I like your intake and everything.
Yeah,
I think sorry, Rob, what was that?
I was just gonna say I appreciate your perspective. Like I told you when I reached out, and I dig your vibe. I can't be having a conversation with someone that's like, "You piece of shit." Oh, did you take that personal? I didn't mean that. That was never my intention.
Yeah, it's not in my personality to do that, and hopefully, like I can come back and talk to you guys at some point. But the last thing that I'd like to say is that I think I differ with you guys on like reading chats and responding to like haters and whatever. Mm-hmm. I've actually found it like super beneficial to listen to people that really don't like me, because even though there are some crazy people that say really weird things, sometimes there's people that don't like me and they have like legitimate gripes of how I put myself across. And I found that I don't know if it's because of my personality, like I'm pretty chilled and laid back. I don't get upset when I read things on the internet. I found listening to some of like the people that don't like me to be quite helpful, because like I make mistakes as well. And sometimes I think because of the way people are on the internet, like it's a very volatile place, they assume if I say something that I'm on somebody's side or I hate them. And I think it does help to give them a little bit of time to just explain yourself. And some of them will just say something crazy again anyway. And it's like, okay, I tried. And then some of them will be like, oh, okay, I didn't see it from that perspective.
Yeah, my only thing I was doing was trying to make sure when I could was that there wasn't nothing like really, really out of bounds that was getting said. If they were just disagreeing or saying something kind of stupid, I'd just let it go and things like that. A lot of we usually are pretty open with the chat and everything like that, but it was just I didn't want anything really hateful or mean spirited or something that was really just out of bounds for somebody to. That's the only thing I was kind of keeping eyes on.
Yeah.
Word.
Well, other than that, I had a great time here. I really appreciate you guys having me on. Maybe we can have like you guys on my stream one day playing Tekken.
Yeah, that's right. Rob's a virtual fighter, man. You're a virtual fighter, right, Rob? That's your game.
What's that? Oh yeah, no, that's like the last game that I played was Virtual Fighter. The last modern like arcade game. That was a long time ago.
Virtual Fighter 6 is coming out.
Well, what is?
Virtua Fighter 6 is coming out, so maybe we could have you on playing against some people.
Wow, yeah. Once it started, instead of just being like 2 buttons and a joystick, with Virtua Fighter, it'd be, you know, like push this up, push down, push up once, down twice, and both buttons. And that was, I don't know if I can remember to do all that shit.
I'm not too bad at the Mortal Kombat. I can do Mortal Kombat. I had Mortal Kombat, the new one, not too long ago. So, but I'm not great at it either. So, but cool.
Yeah, no, but I did think about that too. I thought about, you know, if you wanted me to be on your show. You just said something. You just said something a minute ago when you were talking, and it led to saying that people are still going to say whatever anyway. But something about explaining something. But I don't know what you said, but whatever, it was something that I took as it sounded spiritual, and it was something that I was going to say like I agree with that too. And I don't know what it was, but it was something that I mention a lot of times. It's like, if I have an opinion on somebody, you know, ask me about, hey, what do you think about fucking you know, Abdul the Butcher? Oh, he's a cool dude, man. You know, he's really nice. Every time I see him, you know, he's in a good mood. He's jolly. You know, I think everyone loves to see him. Well, he said you're a dick, man. Fuck Abby. Fuck that motherfucker. He's a punk. You know, that's how I think. That's how I know basic thinkers think. They only got room for that one emotion, and they can't have, you know, they can't have confusing thoughts like that. And that's one thing that I like to mention on here, that, you know, if you follow my RVDology, I'm always trying to share my values, and that's kind of like a self-tester. Like, what someone thinks about me shouldn't be a factor. It shouldn't change a damn thing about anything that I just said about how I feel about them, right?
Yeah. No, of course, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think like one thing that I've learned about doing content on the internet is that if I have an opinion and I put it out there, I've kind of gotten into the mindset of, I've put myself for the internet. I need to be willing to let people say whatever they want to say, whether it's nasty or not. Because I don't want to have a monopoly on the conversation. I want to say my piece, but I want to be open-minded enough to listen to people, even if they're mad at me, and see, like, because behind that anger, there probably is something that they're trying to get across. But on the internet, we read everything in our angry voices. So like, I think you've already proven that, like, you're happy to have open conversation, because you had me on, and initially, like, we didn't agree. So that's just how I approach it. I like listening to what everybody has to say, even if they don't like me. But again, I don't really get, as long as someone doesn't touch me, then I don't really care if someone like hates me or anything. I'll just say to them, why'd you hate me? Like, can we have a chat about it? And if they don't want to, then I'll just move on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some people on the IWC think they'll feel more validated by by insulting me, reaching out and insulting me, and if I've seen it or something, then somehow they're more valid, I guess, because I think nothing of them, but then eventually I think of them, but I think less of them. I think less quality of this person. It was an upgrade when I thought nothing of you at all, but for you don't see it that way. You see it like, hey, he thought about me. Weird.
Yeah.
But that's part of being high profile, is you're always going to have haters, people that they're always going to be there. That's a measure to success. But cool. Yeah. Thanks for being on. I appreciate it. And definitely I would be happy to be on your show to, coordinate everything. And,
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I've got you on Instagram now, so I'll drop you a message one day.
Does it not seem like really we agree on everything except we see the conditions of that apology possibly different? Like, is that pretty much?
Yeah, I think you agree that Roger should be punished for what happened and what he did was wrong. I think where we disagreed was how we got there. I think you were exploring different avenues and I was looking at it a different way. So I think that was the main disagreement. And I think because the situation is so volatile, when people heard those things from both of us, some people were calling me a hater and some people were calling you names. I think that's just the nature of the internet. But yeah, ultimately, I think when we get to the end of the road, we both agree that what Roger did was wrong. And even the promotion, what the promoter did was wrong. What the wrestlers did were wrong. Stu's opening beer can shot was wrong. Like, the whole situation's a mess.
Yeah.
You're out of order. You're out of order.
You're out of order. The whole court's out of order. Hey, Rob, we did get one more super chat here. What other finishers did you use? This is from King Carter. What other?
Me? Fucking before the frog splash, I used the split leg moonsault, which in Japan they called the Hollywood Star Press. And Ron Slinker, the guy that gave me the name Rob Van Dam, he told me to upgrade to the Shooting Star Press, or not Shooting Star Press, the Hollywood Star Press, but the fucking split leg moonsault. He said that it wasn't strong enough because I was one of the smaller guys at like 235. Most of the guys were like 260, 270, and looked way bigger than me. And my move, boom, was kind of soft, and I agreed. And then I came up with the fucking 5-star frog splash because at the time that was the stiffest. What can I do to make you use advantage of all my weight? I'll just jump up as high as I possibly can and bam, use my whole body to crash into the guy. And so I did that for a long time. And of course, the Van Daminator and the Van Terminator, which is an extension of it. I think that's probably about it. Me and Sabu might have maybe put some combination shit together as a tag team and use some of that. Definitely like putting somebody through a table from opposite sides.
Can I ask, your frog splash in particular looked the most painful because you like really got up there and you sort of stretch out where other people would sort of curl. Did it ever do like serious damage to you? Because whenever I was watching you do it, I was always like, that looks horrible to take.
Yeah. I don't think that it ever did damage itself, but it definitely prolonged the healing of damage that I got before. I had a rib that hurt so bad 2 times. One, when Eddie Guerrero did the senton over the ladder and landed on me and knocked the rib out, and where my rib hits my back, and that thing hurt me for like fucking must have been 20 years, and just like boom, it doesn't hurt anymore as of just a couple years ago. Like from like 2005 till probably 2019 or something. This thing was like would come on and off, and always hurt me, and then boom. Fucking my wrist did that recently the other day too. Like I always have wrapped my wrist for fucking at least 20 years to do benching and shit and curls and whatever, and I get sore because they've been broke so many times, and for some reason they fucking stopped hurting the other day. It's probably just a break here and there, but it's crazy how the body cycles like that, It's been forever since I didn't have to wrap them, and they're not even a factor. But anyway, I got sidetracked. What the fuck are we talking about?
We were talking about your finisher, other finishers you had.
Yeah.
So.
Could I ask you a question about, like, I've always wanted to ask you this. Like the way you would sell moves would genuinely make me and my brother feel like you were dead, and like it was super cool. Like I remember when you sold the RKO, we were all sitting there like, was that meant to happen? You know, or when you sold DDTs, like, was that on purpose, or like, did it ever hurt?
One that I would say got me really good was, it actually wasn't one of those, but it was Randy's football punt, and this was before concussions was a thing. So I was leaving, my contract was up, I was walking out, I needed a break, so we had that stretcher match, and he did a football punt underneath my chin, and dude, this is so relevant to what some of the guys like Chael Sonnen are trying to argue. You know, I heard him saying that some of the wrestlers say, just lay it in there, I'll roll with it and whatever. I don't know if you heard that, but they're saying,
Yeah, the Big Show said that to Floyd Mayweather.
Exactly what I told Randy, and I regretted it. But I told him, yeah, don't worry about it, you know, because it was going to be hard for him to run on the apron and do it, whatever. And yeah, it fucking got me wham so fucking hard. But it was crazy because we were going into a concussion angle anyway, and so it's easy to tap into real emotions and go with it. And this was before we knew about concussions, or we never would have done it, you know.
Yeah. I remember you telling too the story of Sandman telling you to kick him as hard as you could.
Yeah, lay it in there.
Lay it
in. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, good stuff, guys. This was a lot of fun, and I think productive too. I think it was really cool to have this kind of
cool. All right, man. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, Van Dam fam. Ain't got much to plug on this end. Lucky to be hanging out off the road for a minute.
Nice. Yes, guys, if you haven't, subscribe to RVD's YouTube channel, subscribe to RVDTV.com. Also, be sure to sign up for Only Wrestlers, onlywrestlers.com. Get your free account on there. You can sign up for RVD's account for free, Katie Forbes' account for free, and they got a show coming up in San Antonio. Be sure to keep your eyes peeled for that as well. But Mike, thank you again for joining. Rob, it's always a pleasure. I hope you did get the trash out tonight, though.
Yeah, but I will. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Talk at you soon. Have a excellent tomorrow from where I'm at. And he's already doing tomorrow.
Yeah, I got work in 6 hours.
Oh my God. Sleep.
He's 8 hours ahead. It's already 5 in the morning where he's at. And,
it's fine. Honestly, this was a privilege, so I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for doing it, man.
Awesome. Cool,
we'll see everybody next time here on
everybody. Keep your minds open and